Because you have it structured down, right? Daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, quarterly tasks. Then when the new hire comes on, you know the exact training procedure that you need to bring that person up to speed. But you have to know, can that person fit and do the job in 2 weeks? Having a very structured offboarding leads into a very structured onboarding. When you have really good clarity on like what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it, you have transparency and accountability in your processes to where you can see that. Then when you delegate, you know it's going to be done right. The big question when we talk about like being able to delegate without worry is that insightful question that you ask yourself, what do I need to see so that I don't have to worry about this anymore?
And because if somebody does leave, as you said, typically 2 week notice, and then they're gone, if you have this already set up in advance, probably, unless you are really proactive about having a bench of candidates that you could draw from. And today, in this world we have today, that's probably not even present today, because there's been so many shifts in the world of labor with COVID. But having this in place with a good team, you know what the functions of this person have been, and it'd be relatively easy to check the boxes to make sure things, projects, items, whether it's daily, weekly, quarterly, aren't being dropped. So
Exactly.
in the interim, before you bring on the person who will ultimately take over that position again.
Exactly. And because you have it structured down, right? Daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, quarterly tasks. Then when the new hire comes on, you know the exact training procedure that you need to bring that person up to speed, right? Because you have it already broken down daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. And so therefore, when they need to be brought up to speed, if they were able to transition the person that was leaving able to transition it to you within 2 weeks, you should be able to transition to the new hire within 2 weeks. Not take like 6 months. Like some of these companies, when they transition onboard a new person, they're like onboarding for like months. It, that people tell me, a true story. I had a client tell me, John, I am really in a bind right now because my business is growing, all this kind of stuff, but I can't hire. I was like, why can't you hire? I said, it takes somebody 2 years to understand my business. I'm like, 2 years?
Mm,
I mean, you're gonna have to hire for your bench like 2 years before you
yeah,
have a surge? That's
yeah.
crazy. And I was like, you can't have an onboarding that takes that long. And a lot of businesses, I mean, they may not take 2 years, but it takes like months, like 3 months usually. 6 months is average. I'm like, you need to be able to figure out if that person's going to work for you in 2 weeks. Because I don't know about you, there are a lot of business owners who use recruiters,
Hmm.
right, to bring on people. And recruiters, guess what? They would say, I'm willing to replace a candidate if they don't work out within 2 weeks, usually, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to know, can that person fit and do the job in 2 weeks? And so how are you going to be able to do all of that in 2 weeks and get that notification? And so that's why I'm like, having a very structured offboarding leads into a very structured onboarding, so you can make a quick decision as to whether or not that person fits in your firm, or can they do the job. And if they can't, like if you're hiring a recruiter, then you still have that window to replace that person, and make that decision quickly, and you're not suffering through somebody who's not a good fit.
So, John, what do some of your clients that have been with you, business owners who have been with you for any period of time, whether it's they're in their first year or maybe they've been a client for multiple years, what's been the change in their feeling? Not just numbers and hardcore metrics, but I mean, what kind of sense of relief or peace of mind? I'm just kind of throwing words out there, but what do you hear? What's the story they give you back about having this in place?
One of the biggest things, and I know it personally, myself as well, one of the biggest things that they have the feeling of like, I can delegate without having to worry.
Mm,
That is their biggest feeling. I know I've had that issue before where I feel like, again, it's a self perpetuating cycle, right?
yeah,
Because, like, oh, I don't know if I trust this person, so I'm not willing to delegate. And when I'm not willing to delegate, I'm either A, micromanaging, right?
right.
Either I'm micromanaging or I'm taking on their task, which means that I'm eating up my time doing their job. And then eventually that person's going to feel, you know, micromanaged, or this they're going to feel like you're a bad boss and they're going to leave, and then now this cycle just perpetuates. I've had that. And so when you have really good clarity on like what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it. You have transparency and accountability in your processes to where you can see that. Then when you delegate, it's like I need this stuff to get done. This report, sales report year over year, you know it's going to be done right. You know there is no mismatch expectations. And that's the freedom that you have. It's like, oh, I can actually quote unquote actually truly hand this off to my second lieutenant or this person or that person and it's going to get done right. I mean that is a very freeing feeling, I can tell you. A very
I,
freeing feeling.
I listen. I totally get it. How many times do we, as CEOs and owners, feel like we're carrying the weight of everybody, even though we have staff, employees, and processes and systems in place? We think they're all good, but to your point, if we really feel like we cannot delegate and feel confirmed that what we've delegated is going to get done, we still carry that load, and it keeps us from being able to be creative and visionary as we're supposed to be. It bogs us down in that
Yeah,
process.
exactly. And one of the things that I appreciate about your podcast, where you talked about like the freedom podcast, like you need to have freedom with your time. Nobody who wants to work 100 hours, work on the weekends.
Right.
As we talked before, one of the biggest things that I want owners to be able to do. Remember, I was on a cruise, right? And they were
Yeah.
trying to call me. You know, I have all these owners that tell me it's like I have workcations, right? They have to
Right.
take their phone, they have to take their laptop.
Yeah.
I mean, can my biggest thing is like you want to be able to have a vacation without your phone going off, without you having to check email, without you having to do all that. So how do you get there? Right? That's the key. How do you get there? And part of it is, I can tell you, part of it is also like kind of this um this ink blot test for owners as well. Because the big question when we talk about like being able to delegate without worry is that insightful question that you ask yourself, what do I need to see so that I don't have to worry about this anymore? What do I need to see? And I know a lot of owners, they've never asked themselves that question before. Like, let's say I'm putting an event together, or let's say that I'm doing, some event for my customers or something like that. And I want to be able to trust my second lieutenant to be able to pull that off. Like, what do I need to see that this is A, progressing and that this is going to get done right? And a lot of owners don't have that clarity. And when they don't have that clarity in your head, that means that you're going to be micromanaging. And so when you ask yourself that up front and get that clarified, then A, you can delegate without having to worry. And B, that person who's doing it knows that it's like, oh, I know exactly how to meet John's expectations, or I know exactly how to meet David's expectations because everybody's clear and knows what the expected end result is. That's super, super helpful.
Really, really great information, John, and the questions that you pose back are, yeah, I think most business owners don't think about those, and just posing those questions and developing answers or solutions to those would solve a lot of the conundrum and the dissonance that we tend to carry. Well, let me ask you this then: is there a minimum client company size? Is it by revenue? Is it by number of employees? How do you evaluate if, again, if your services in pipeline.io would be, transformative for a company? What's the frontline vetting you would do there?
Yeah, so basically we take a look at a company and obviously we're not looking for like solopreneurs. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously solopreneurs could potentially use pipeline, um, but they don't really get the true benefit of it. Once you start becoming like a team of let's say 5 or something like that, then that's where you start taking advantage of something like pipeline because now you have to delegate. There are people on your team and usually we try to work with small businesses. So people that are, businesses that are under like 250, those are the types of business that we have. We usually concentrate on like various departments that are, a few people, like 5 people, 10 people, or something like that. And we go department at a time because those small teams generally need the most amount of help.
Right.
And those are the people that we tend to work with.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, best way for people who are interested in learning more about what you do, John, and about pipeline.io, what's the best way to connect with you?
Definitely look us up on our website, pipelineapp.io. There's a contact us form that where you can definitely initiate a contact with us, reach out to us. You can also find me on LinkedIn. So look for John Way on LinkedIn and, make a connection, shoot me a message. I love to have conversations with other like-minded business owners and stuff like that, to have conversations and so on.
Well, I can definitely say, John, I enjoyed our conversation. That's why I brought you back. You were easy to talk to. I felt like we had a lot of synergy, commonalities right out of the gate, and that's what gave me the feeling that you definitely had figured some things out that other business owners would certainly be open and should at least take a look at for consideration. So, really want to thank you for your time today and sharing the insights and experiences that that you have learned, and also now bring solutions to many who are trying to scale and grow their businesses.
Awesome. It was a pleasure. I'd love to be on again. Thank you so much.
We'll do it. If you enjoyed watching or learning from this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have a question about any of my content or this specific video, just please leave a comment down below. And as always, stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.